everyone, it's Margaret Manning here with 60andMe. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. Now, my guest today is Ashley Koff. Ashley is a nutrition expert, a registered dietitian, and she's written several books, including a workbook called Road Trip to Better Health. So welcome to the show, Ashley.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I am so excited to have you here. As you know, our community is made up of, we reach about 500,000 women now, over 50, 55, 60. And we really care about our health.
Yeah.
So you are...
Good. It's the one thing that we all want. You know, nobody really wants better nutrition, but we want better health. If we don't have it, we want to get it. And if we have it, we're like, okay, I need to do everything to keep it. So I totally agree with you.
And it's the key to everything. I mean, if you want financial security, if you want independence, all those things are kind of pivots around good health. So we change as we get older. Our bodies just do all kinds of freaky things, but we'd like to talk about today nutrition and the kinds of nutrients that your body needs as you get a little older. So if you could share with us your thoughts on that.
Sure. You know, in aging, I think, we've done such a bad job. I started my career out in marketing and advertising. So I was at a big ad agency, a global ad agency, working on like Kellogg's and Clairol. Yeah. I only say that because we have marketed aging so badly. We've made it feel like either you have to be doing everything and these creams and these potions and all this stuff. And we put a lot of stress around aging. And so one of the things to understand is that an aging body, just like an aging car, just, anything else, it needs attention. But it really is reflective of how we've treated it beforehand. And so that's where we kind of get a little bit of an maybe we haven't been so good to our bodies earlier on, or maybe things have happened early in our lives. But we don't have to worry about that. What we need to think about is we know today definitively what better nutrition is and isn't. And we also know that better nutrition is what powers your better health. So it's not, notice I'm not saying perfect nutrition. It's not perfect choices. And it's about making those choices more often. So the first thing I want to say to anyone out there is there is no perfect, abandon it. But at the same time, one of the things that we just need to do is start off with an assessment of where is my nutrition. So if you walk in my door as a patient, I'm going to first sit down. I'm going to look at a couple days of a food journal. I'm going to ask you some things about how you're feeling. And then I'm going to scan that food journal and we're going to talk about, are you hitting better nutrition? Right. Better nutrition has 4 core pillars. We'll get to the nutrient part. The 4 pillars are quality, quantity, nutrient balance, and frequency. Okay. So in the nutrient space, you'll hear this word balance. You know, we used to talk to people about calories, right? Like, oh, I just need to get in calories. Mm-hmm. But the issue is calories don't enable your better health. They just give you energy. And depending on what kind of calorie they are, they're going to give us different energy. Right. So nutrients. Okay. Nutrients are the resources that our bodies need to run better. And as we age, there are certain nutrients that our body needs a little bit more of. And I think it's very surprising. A lot of people might say calcium. And did you know that calcium actually, it's our contractor. So if I make a muscle, I see here, and I'm contracting my muscle, that's calcium. So we actually need is magnesium. Magnesium is Mother Nature's muscle relaxant. It exists inside of our cells to turn off the stress response. So as I say that, everybody should just feel like they just got into a bath and wait a minute, this is so great. But 70 to 70% of women in America, just in the States, are not even meeting the recommended daily allowance of magnesium. And that's the amount to just keep us from having disease-related issues. So when I talk about magnesium and the fact that it can turn off stress, what that means is helps reduce headaches, helps our muscles, our digestive muscle, our heart muscle, our physical, our muscles that we're using for workouts relax better. And it also works with like 500 different enzymatic reactions in the body. So magnesium, top of the list.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a question. So when you talk about nutrients, just going even back to the definition of what a nutrient is, I think immediately when you say calcium, I think of vitamin. That's what I say that word, vitamin. Sure. So vitamin, vitamin D, B, and whatever, but I think of calcium and magnesium. So tell me the difference between, if it's not too complicated for you to just magnesium, calcium, what is the difference?
Sure. So calcium and magnesium are 2 minerals, and they work in opposition to each other. And I think one of the reasons you think vitamins is that for decades, I marketed to you that we need vitamins, right? We called it a multivitamin. We didn't call it a multivitamin and a multimineral. So there are other nutrients. There are nutrients, for example, that are found in plants. We call those phytonutrients. Okay. And those plant nutrients are responsible for doing things like our cleanup system and helping us support our detoxification system. So it's actually great that you asked me that question, because not a vitamin, not a mineral, but there's an antioxidant, in particular one that's found in really good amounts, the highest amount in broccoli. Now, it depends on where you get your broccoli from and what you do to that broccoli, but the broccoli has something called glucoraphanin. There's not going to be a quiz on this, right?
Okay. Or spelling bee.
That's right. Glucoraphanin becomes sulforaphane in the body, right? So another word. And that sulforaphane is responsible for supporting our phase 2 of our detoxification. This is really important for us as we age. We want to try to reduce our exposure to toxins. We want to try to maybe eat organic more often, especially if you're in the States, and, maybe use better cleaning products. I focus on better skin products, that kind of a thing. But we don't want to go crazy about it. And basically what we want to understand is our bodies have a detoxification system. One of the things that detoxification system does is it takes things like our used hormones. So as we use up estrogen in our body, it takes that, and it can't be eliminated until it's broken down, until it's converted into something that can go out of our body by way of urine or, that, right? So that sulforaphane that came from the broccoli is going to be what does that. So my recommendation of another nutrient that's really important as we age is to support our detoxification system. And so that nutrient would be glucoraphanin sulforaphane, right? That one. And just eating your broccoli, right? Getting in your broccoli, getting in other cruciferous vegetables. Sulforaphane, glucoraphanin is also one that I supplement in my patients as they're aging. Part of the reason for the balance of supplements is I don't want somebody to think, oh my gosh, I'm not getting broccoli in other than twice a week. What do I do? Right? And so we can get some of those in. So that's 2 of them, magnesium and glucoraphanin. And then the third one is called coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10. Q10 is a very potent antioxidant. It actually also is an electron donor. Nobody needs to remember this except for the fact that what I want you to understand is antioxidants means that they stop the oxidation or the free radicals. They do that cleanup work that needs to happen in the body. Electron donor means that CoQ10 actually helps to prevent some of that from even happening, right? So it's very important for our overall health, really, really critical for healthy cells, but especially for cognitive function. So to take it to an extreme, in my Parkinson's patients, we go with really high doses of CoQ10 because it's really important for making the muscle to not have the tremors. It can be helpful.
So Ashley, quick question. Sorry to interrupt you. You're doing such a good job of describing all this stuff, but I want to just slow down for a second and ask you about free radicals, because I want to make sure that we understand that, because I'm not sure I understand. Is this stuff that's in the environment, like just the world around us? Is that what's
really great question? And please, I go quickly because I'm used to doing media where they're only 3, but I love that we can talk about this, and I love your question. So free radicals, it sounds like, it's scary. So yes, we can take in toxins, things from the environmental toxins that can create free radicals. Basically what free radicals are is they're the unwanted waste products in our body that can create disease. Because since they're free, they can go cling on to things where they don't belong and interfere with our body's normal functioning. Here's the tricky part. Normal functioning in the body creates free radicals. So what we don't want to think that we could ever avoid it, or, if we're really good about, living in a bubble, how boring, but, doing all these other things that we won't have the issue of free radicals. We do, just even the body, it's in the stress response or in digestion of food, these sorts of things. So what you want to think about it is there are all these sort of, I'll call it just the dirt inside of our body, right? We'll think of it that way with the free radicals. And if we go in and we clean our house on a regular basis, then that's going to increase our health because we don't have that as much of that dirt accumulating. So that's really what we're talking about there.
So just to remind us, we've got 3 things so far. We've got magnesium for stress. We've got broccoli. I'm going to just say broccoli for toxicity, and now we've got CoQ10 for free radicals or stress or dirt.
Right. Antioxidant and cognitive function. And that CoQ10, one of the reasons it's really important for us is we don't make it as we're aging. So I think that's one that we definitively, need to start thinking about. Am I going to, and it's tougher to get it from food sources. We're not eating as much seafood. We're not eating as much meat. And so again, that might be one that we're talking about in a supplemental form. But one of the key things is that if you are taking a statin drug, if you're taking something to address your cholesterol, then CoQ10 exists on the cholesterol molecule. It's a fat soluble molecule. And so actually any of my patients that are on a statin drug also will be taking CoQ10, and they take them at different times in the day. Okay. So that's a very important piece. So the final one is vitamin D, which you brought up. Vitamin D is actually not a vitamin. So you want me to get you really confused here now. We told you, here are all our vitamins. Yeah, vitamin D is actually a hormone. And so as a result, if you think about all of the importance of those hormones, thyroid regulation, insulin and glucagon, which are regulating your blood sugar, there's actually hormonal response in terms of making sure that we're building healthy bones. We often think of these bones as like kind of these form things that are not, alive inside of us, but they actually are a matrix that are always having all this work going on, and they're very much alive. And vitamin D makes sure it's part of the escort system that takes calcium and delivers it into our bones. So vitamin D is going to be really critical for us. I love getting it from wild salmon, or I personally love sardines. Like that's going to be great. Great from mushrooms, but most of us, we'd have to consume a lot of that in order to get the vitamin D. So the ones that I was talking to you about just now, these four, when I'm looking at a patient's, say you came to me totally healthy and you were like, Ashley, I just want to stay this way. And, here's what I'm eating, and I'm doing great from eating a rainbow of different colors. I'm doing all these other things. We might look at where, putting together a dietary supplement regime to get in some of these, some quantity of these nutrients so that we're getting them in more often, but we should always start with our food.
Okay, so we didn't actually talk so much about what foods. I mean, could you very briefly tell us, like, for each one of those, magnesium, calcium, magnesium, I don't know whether that goes together, and then, of course, you've mentioned broccoli, and then the CoQ10 and D. What one food so we can get?
Yeah. So, and by the way, in terms of resources on my website, I have both evaluations that are a couple of pages long that you can go through to see if they're actually just one page of a quiz, and then give you some tips to see if you're getting enough of these in. And then I have menus, and those menus will actually show you all the different foods and how in a day or in a week you can get in the amount that we're wanting you to get in. Magnesium is awesome because we get it in from chocolate. So cacao is a magnesium. So when you choose a better quality chocolate, I mean, you're there in Switzerland, it's like if you upgrade to more cacao and get in a good source of chocolate, that's going to be great for you. Cashews, whole grains. Interestingly, when you go from a whole grain of, we'll just use wheat, to white flour, 70% reduction in magnesium. So you can see if I'm actually eating the whole grain, rather than having the white flour, I'm going to do great there. Calcium, another one, so important for you. You can do the sardines that have the little bones in there, or canned wild salmon. You also do not ever need to have dairy in order to get your calcium in. I think that's a really important myth. You can get, obviously, calcium from dairy, but you also can get it from greens, are a great source, and they also provide some magnesium in there. And I have more resources on my website on that.
Okay.
Talking about the glucoraphanin, broccoli is my go-to for that one. So, that's going to be a great option. Easy. And then in terms of CoQ10, it's tougher. It tends to be your animal meats because it's in the fat of the animal. And so, so I would say in that space, in the animal meats. And then finally for vitamin D, it was the ones I was talking about, the wild salmon, sardines, and also mushrooms. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And I would want to remind people to go to your website, ashleykofapproved.com. Because I know I've had a look, and you've got a wealth of information up there. It's incredible. And, I think you've really pulled this together beautifully. I mean, I know that women in our age group have tried everything in their life. We've tried everything to stay healthy, but, you sometimes get overwhelmed. This is good. This isn't good. And what you've done is really netted it out. Like, these are the four. Then you can do a couple of extras like probiotics or whatever else you really believe in. But those are the ones that you need to stay healthy.
Yeah, and I would say one thing, I love the idea of what you believe in, but I think the biggest mistake, if I had to pick one thing that people are doing, it's that they're hearing about something and starting it without assessing where you are today. Yeah. If you're going on a road trip, I'll use that analogy, and if I was, driving from DC to Ohio, I would map that I'm in DC and I want to get to Ohio. And a lot of us are just going into the store and going like, okay, Ohio, here's where I want to go. Yeah. But it's like, where am I? And so, a lot of the tools that I have on my site are from 20 years as a practitioner, making sure that we start people off with assessing where you are right now.
Wonderful. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing this information. This has been so helpful to me personally, and I'm sure the community is going to love it. So thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our 60andMe YouTube channel and also visit our website. We are a strong and dynamic community of women over 60. We're challenging aging stereotypes, and every day we share fascinating stories, interesting questions, and great conversation.